You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
And today on our HouseCall edition, we're going to go over 3 of your questions. And so those questions that have come in today are everything from recipes to exercise, and then even what makes a good functional medicine patient or candidate. So let's get right into it today. Hopefully you listened in on yesterday's Cabral House Call, went over a host of various other issues, and I do recommend checking that out as well. So today's question's coming in from Kara. Kara's first question says, what's a good bone broth recipe? So a lot of bone broth has been, basically the benefits of bone broth have been in the news lately. I believe on my Friday review, I talked about a collagen-based product, which again, bone broth has a lot of collagen-based properties to it. So here's what we've done in the past, Karen, and this is a recipe that may work for you. It's actually very simple. It's a good plan and use of the entire chicken if this is the recipe you decide to use. So one way you can go about this is literally you're going to roast an entire pasture-raised chicken. And so usually they're a little bit on the smaller side. It's good for anywhere between 3 and 4 people. That's enough meat, or you can save the meat, which I'm going to talk about, the chicken. And so what you do is you'll simply cook that chicken. You'll carve off all of the actual meat, and you'll take off all of the skin as well. You'll save any leftover meat for a chicken soup if you'd like to make the next day, or of course, whatever you would like to use it for. Then what you'll do is you'll take the actual bones and the cartilage and whatever's left, and you'll chop that up. So you'll cut that into very small pieces. You'll cut the bones in half so it exposes the actual marrow. And once that's all broken up, I use a very large meat cleaver, and you could use whatever works for you, specifically just obviously catching it all. And then what you want to do is get a very large pot. So in that large pot, you'll fill that up with 1 gallon of distilled water. And then you'll add all of those bones and all of the cartilage to that. Now, some people use the skin. I no longer use the skin simply because of histamine-based issues and a lot of other issues that people can react to with the skin. But you're welcome to use that, of course, if it comes from a pasture-based chicken. And what you do is you're going to set the heat to low. Now, that in and of itself will make a bone broth, just the bones and the distilled water that you add 1 gallon to. And then you're just going to leave it on for 24 hours. On a very low heat. Now, for extra credit, you can do other things. You can add about 3 to 4 ounces of apple cider vinegar. That will help further demineralize the bones and pull out more minerals from the bones, which means you'll get more minerals into your body from that. You can also add a few peppercorns, which will also help with digestion and the demineralization. And if you'd like, you can add a few cloves of garlic. Okay. Now, the next day, what you're able to do is that next morning is add chopped up carrots and chopped up celery. So now all of this is essentially making a stock or a broth for chicken soup. A great way to go about it. You can add onions if you'd like. Now, keep in mind, I don't add onions and I don't add garlic and I don't add also apple cider vinegar for those people in the beginning of my digestive-based protocols if they still have any bloating, gas, or candida-based issues, because all of the things that I just mentioned, the garlic, the onions, the apple cider vinegar, could actually ferment and give food for the candida and yeast. They are FODMAP-based food. They are fermentable-based foods. So we don't use those in the beginning. We might use them after 12 weeks. All right. So that right there works. You can add more water as needed. And then what you'll do is you'll simply take all of that out and you will strain it. You can also do the same recipe in a slow cooker. That works as well. And some people, believe it or not, actually like to blend everything at the end and then strain that as well. I simply just take out all the bones and I take out everything. You can take out the carrots, you can take out the celery if you'd like, and then you just have the broth. Now, the broth you can sip on as a nice, warm, hot beverage with meals, and that's great for digestion, or you can drink it between meals as well, 2 to 3 cups per day. And then, of course, if you'd like to make a meal of it, simply add back in the chicken, and the chicken then with the celery and the carrots makes a nice chicken soup. So hopefully, Carrie, that answered your question. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. Even someone like myself, who is not a chef by any means or any stretch of the imagination, can follow that very simple recipe. All right, our next question is up from Hilary. Hilary K is asking, how do you know if you'd be a good patient to work with you? Okay, so I'm going to expand this and not just say to work with myself, but to work with any functional medicine doctor or any naturopathic doctor or natural health practitioner. So one is that you have to be open to exploring different possibilities, even if it's something that has not been on your area of study or research online or radar or any of those things, whatever cliches you'd like to use. And this is the reason why. And I've been in this position myself. I did a lot of research when I was trying to get well, and I would go to doctors and very smart doctors, and I was not there to their level of understanding yet, which means that I couldn't understand where they were coming from because I didn't have that knowledge base, and I hadn't been through it as many times before them, and I hadn't seen hundreds of people like they had seen before. So I was only looking at it from my perspective. So do understand that your naturopathic doctor or your natural health practitioner or functional medicine doctor has your best needs in mind, and you should be open to that. Now, if it certainly doesn't mesh with you, don't just not say anything. Be a participant in your health. Let them know, just, hey, this is what I've read, this is what I researched. What do you think about that? I love when people do that with me because I say, you know what, that's really smart. That's a great idea, but here's why it won't work right now for you. And it could be just like I just mentioned in the last question, like garlic's supposed to be a great antimicrobial. It kills parasites, bacteria, okay, but it also is a fermentable food that can feed bacteria and other things like that. So, although great, maybe we won't use it in the beginning, maybe we'll use it further on. And then once they know that, you say, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. So just keep an open mind. Allow yourself to then be able to immerse yourself in the program. So there's also no need to come to see me if you're only interested in doing parts of the program I give you. And the reason is, it's not that I don't think that that would be a nice thing, that could be great, but the problem is there is no single supplement solutions. I try to get that across to people. So if you're seeing a natural health practitioner and they're just saying, okay, take some niacin, take this, take that, and they haven't even thought about a protocol for you, I'm not sure that's the best fit. You want to work on a systemic-based level, which means you're working on multiple things. Your digestive system, you're working on your nervous system, the fight or flight, you're working on neurotransmitters, you're working on everything all at once because the body doesn't work in little pieces. It works as a giant network of fascia, of nerves, of electrolytes, of minerals, of vitamins, of neurotransmitters. You need everything. So keep yourself open to it. The second or the third or fourth or fifth, whatever we're up to now, is I would also say is just make sure you're willing to see it through and you're willing to stick with the program and make tweaks along with your doctor for a 12-week period of time. We typically tell people, my protocols are 3 to 4 months. In 3 to 4 months, you should be pretty much better. If you're not better, you can obviously see that you're well on the way to being better. And so look at it that way, make sure that you invest in yourself, that you understand there's a cost to nutritional supplements. There's a cost to doing functional medicine-based tests, but in the end, it's absolutely worth it. One other thing I will add is that I like a lot of times, so I see people with the hardest of the hard, cases, and that's okay, and that's what I love to do. That's what I'm here for. But a lot of times, you could follow the nutrition plan that I already offer, that I talk about. You could do the Dr. Cabral Detox. That's going to get people a lot of great results. And then you could try those, and that saves you a lot of money. And then you can say, okay, well, I still then need to meet with a natural health practitioner or a naturopathic doctor. But if you follow the Dr. Cabral Detox and you do the maintenance plan of the AM smoothie, you could be doing really great for yourself, and you might not even need to get to that level. But, do think about it again, and just make sure that you're in it, that you are a full participant in your health, and that you work with your doctor as an active participant, and that you're open to it. Hopefully that answers your question, Hilary. If not, you can email us personally, or you can also just ask another question in a different way. All right, Stan is up next. Stan's got a great question. He's asking, what's the magic number of workouts per week to stay in great shape without killing myself doing it? So I get this same question in multiple different formats at least 2 to 3 times per month. So really common question, and Stan, here's my answer. Very simple, very straightforward. 2 to 3 weight workouts per week. That can be body weight, that can be pull-ups, push-ups, those types of things. It's not going to build as much mass as doing, weightlifting with actual dumbbells or kettlebells, those types of things, or cables, but still great. And 1 to 2 interval-based cardio days. Okay, so what does that look like? It looks like about 4 days minimum per week. Now, you can get away with 3 days per week, so I will say that. What's the minimum? You can get away with 3 days per week. You could do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then just keeping your body active on the weekend. So here's the other trick to it. Number of days per week goes up if you're taking off more than 2 days in a row. So here's the thing. If you can work out every other day, then that's really all your body needs to stay in good shape, borderline great shape, and not kill yourself doing it. Now, if you work out 5 days a week, you're going to be in better shape, right? But let's talk about the minimum days. The minimum days I've seen, and this is 20 years of research talking. This is 20 years of experience. This is over 200,000 client sessions, 3 days per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Keep those days every other day. And the reason is 20 years ago, we didn't have this research. I just saw it working. Now we have the research saying that a great workout that's a combination of resistance-based and interval-based training for about 30 to 40 minutes, you can keep your metabolism elevated for the next 31 hours. So obviously it makes sense. You don't necessarily need to work out that next day if your metabolism's still elevated. So Stan, hopefully that answers your question, and hopefully that's a great news that 3 days a week you can stay in great shape. If you can give me 4 days a week, well then that's like next level. You'll be doing even better, because then you could do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, stay active on the weekends, or you could do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 1 workout day on the weekend. If you haven't, you can simply download the welcome package at StephenCabral.com. It's completely free, and it does give you my ideal workout week. So great questions today. As always, they're always fantastic questions, and so keep them coming. I am happy to answer those. We've been getting more and more coming in, so if we ever have to, we might just do some rapid-fire questions where I answer them in just 1 or minute or so, 1 or 2 minutes, and I'll get more in, but I'll always answer your questions, every single question that does come in. Looking forward to next week. Definitely tune in to next week's shows. We have all sorts of things for great Total Wellness Tuesdays, Weight Loss Wednesdays, Motivational Monday. It's just coming up tomorrow on how to plan your life. Really, really great show. Thank you again, as always, for tuning in. Please do feel free to share these shows with others if you feel they could help. Thank you again. I'll talk with you soon. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at StephenCabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.